You think you see color, but it's not real. Whoa, right? It's a mind-bending concept. The redness of a strawberry, the blue of the sky, it's all a construction of your brain. The world around you isn't actually colored. Color doesn't exist out there like physical objects. Instead, color is a sensation, an experience created entirely within your head. It's your brain's way of interpreting the outside world, based on the information it receives from your eyes. But how does it work? Get ready for a wild ride into the science of color perception. Let's start with the basics. Light. Light is made up of electromagnetic waves, which travel at, well, the speed of light. These waves come in different wavelengths, and each wavelength corresponds to a different energy level. The entire range of wavelengths is called the electromagnetic spectrum. It includes everything from radio waves, which have long wavelengths and low energy, to gamma rays, which have short wavelengths and extremely high energy. But here's the catch. Our eyes can only detect a tiny sliver of this spectrum, the part we call visible light. Think of your eyes as biological cameras. When light enters your eye, it passes through the cornea and the pupil, and then it hits the lens. The lens focuses the light onto the back of your eye, on a light-sensitive surface called the retina. The retina is where the magic of vision begins. It's packed with millions of specialized cells called photoreceptors, which convert light into electrical signals. These signals are then sent along the optic nerve to the brain for processing. There are two main types of photoreceptors in your retina: rods and cones. Rods are responsible for your vision in low light, but they can't distinguish between colors. Cones, on the other hand, are your color specialists. Humans typically have three types of cone cells: red cones, green cones, and blue cones. Each type is most sensitive to a specific range of wavelengths within the visible spectrum. Red cones respond most strongly to longer wavelengths, green cones to medium wavelengths, and blue cones to shorter wavelengths. It's the combined activity of these three cone types that allows us to perceive the vast array of colors we see in the world around us. Color might seem simple: red apples, blue skies, but what you're really seeing is your brain decoding light, and that's where the magic happens. Light enters your eye and hits the retina, where cone cells respond to different wavelengths, roughly red, green, and blue. These cones send signals to your brain, which doesn't just read them, it compares them, blending the inputs to create the colors you see. No yellow cone? No problem. Your brain mixes red and green signals and invents yellow. It's like neural color mixing. Equal activation of all cones, you see white. No activation at all, that's black. Your brain's way of saying, nothing here. Your brain is like an artist, blending signals instead of paint, creating a vivid, colorful world from pure light. You'd think color is straightforward. Red is red, blue is blue, but perception, that's where it gets tricky. Our brains interpret color differently. What looks teal to you might look green to someone else. And for those who are colorblind, it's more than a quirk. It affects daily life. It usually comes down to cone cells in the eye not working properly. They're what let us see color in the first place. Remember the blue and black, or was it white and gold, dress? That viral moment showed how wildly our brains can disagree. So next time you argue over a color, just know, your brain might be seeing something totally different, and that's okay. And then, there are animals. Many animals actually see the world in colors we can only, dream of. Take bees, for example. They can see ultraviolet light, which is totally invisible to us humans. That ability lets them spot patterns on flowers that guide them straight to the nectar. Birds, reptiles, and some fish. They have 4 types of cones, which means they're seeing a whole range of colors beyond our imagination. And then, there's the mantis shrimp. This little creature has, get this, 12 to 16 types of color receptors. Honestly, we can't even begin to wrap our heads around what the world must look like to them. So what does all this tell us about color? Well, it tells us that color isn't really an inherent property of the world around us. It's actually a product of our own biology and perception. The way we experience color depends on the specific types of cone cells we have, how our brains process visual information, and even our personal experiences and cultural backgrounds. It's not just a visual phenomenon, it's a deeply personal and subjective experience. The next time you look at a rainbow, or a field of flowers, or maybe even a painting, just remember this: what you're seeing isn't just a direct feed from the outside world. It's a carefully crafted experience, built entirely inside your brain. You're not just passively observing colors that exist out there on their own, you're actually creating those colors in your mind, based on the information your senses are feeding to your brain. Light enters your eyes, sure, but what you perceive as red or blue is your brain's interpretation of that light's wavelength. It's not the color itself that exists in the world, it's the light. The color? That's your brain's best guess. Color is, in a way, a beautiful illusion. It's a testament to how powerful the human brain is at constructing its own version of reality. Think about it. Two people can look at the same sunset and see slightly different shades. Some people are colorblind and see the world in a completely different palette, and yet each of those experiences feels completely real to the person having it. Even artists and designers who work with color every day know that color is subjective. What looks like sky blue on one screen might look totally different on another. That's because our perception of color is influenced by context, lighting, and even our emotions. Your brain is constantly adjusting and recalibrating what you see to make sense of the world. And honestly, it's not just color. Sound, taste, touch, smell, every one of our senses is filtered through the brain. When you hear music, you're not just hearing vibrations in the air, your brain is decoding those vibrations, layering in emotion, memory, and meaning. When you taste your favorite food, it's not just about the ingredients. It's about how your brain interprets the signals from your tongue and nose, the crunch of a chip, the scent of fresh bread, the warmth of sunlight on your skin. These are all brain-generated experiences. Your body collects the data, but your brain is the one that turns it into something you can feel, enjoy, or even remember. Our brains are constantly interpreting the world around us, turning raw sensory data into something rich and meaningful. It's like we're all walking around in our own custom-made virtual reality, built from the same physical world, but experienced in uniquely personal ways. Neuroscientists call this perceptual construction, the idea that what we experience isn't the world itself, but a model of the world created by our brains. This model is shaped by our biology, our memories, our expectations, and even our culture. It's why two people can witness the same event and walk away with completely different interpretations. So, yeah, the next time someone asks you what color is or what something really sounds like, you can just smile and say, "It's clearly all in your head."